By now, you and I know the pregame ritual on Super Sunday. It features a pregame show that runs longer than the game itself. And among those interviewed, the two opposing quarterbacks, as well as someone who could be called our national QB, the President of the United States. When Seattle quarterback Russell Wilson sat down for his conversation, what happened in last year's Super Bowl was an obvious subject for discussion. So you think the same thing might hold true for President Obama, that he would be asked follow-up questions based on what he said on Super Sunday a year ago. Perhaps the most memorable comments from our president last year concerned his assistant's insistence that nothing was amiss with the leadership of the IRS.
There were some boneheaded decisions out of a
but no
office.
mass corruption.
Not even mass corruption, not even a smidgen of corruption.
So a year ago, our president made the now infamous remark that there was not even a smidgen of corruption in the IRS leadership during his pregame interview with Fox. Yesterday, NBC carried the game, so the Today Show Savannah Guthrie conducted the interview. And the president really didn't have to worry, have a smidgen of concern, you might say, about being asked about the IRS, because Ms. Guthrie failed to display even a smidgen of interest in asking about it. Not only did NBC allow the president to escape the unpleasant history of an inaccurate answer from 1 year ago, the Peacock people also allowed our commander-in-chief to rewrite American history.
We are in the White House kitchen where, among other things, you brew beer.
We make beer. First president since George Washington to make some booze in the White House.
Maybe it was the fact that yesterday's chat occurred in the White House kitchen. Maybe that's what led Mr. Obama to cook up his own version of American history. At any rate, let's set the record straight. There was no White House when George Washington was president, but yesterday there was a whitewash of what's going on right now.
You gave your State of the Union a couple of weeks ago. People noticed you had a pep in your step. You were confident. Your critics say maybe a little cocky. I guess the question is, you know, your party lost in November, but you went in there with such swagger. Should you have been more conciliatory? Is it, to borrow football metaphor, is it kind of like you're the quarterback, you're doing the end zone dance when it's the other team that got the touchdown?
Well, actually, nobody was doing the end zone dance. What we were talking about was the success that America's had in digging itself out of a really tough recession. I was speaking about the fact that we've seen a faster drop in unemployment in the past year as we've seen in 30 years. We've seen that wages are actually starting to tick up again. We've seen housing recover, auto industry recover, energy production up, gas prices down.
Savannah Guthrie may have had a bit of snark in her voice, but the implication was clear. It's your world, Mr. President, and you're entitled to your own facts. If you want to crow about lower gas prices, who are we to point out that you oppose the Keystone Pipeline and other measures that would make the U.S. energy independent? In fact, by the end of that very brief live interview, it appeared that a different type of tanking up was on the mind of both the interviewer and the interviewee.
This is the honey ale.
Okay.
Made from honey from Michelle's garden. That's how this originally came about. Somebody in the Navy mess figured out that you could make beer using honey.
Okay.
So let's taste it.
All right. Well,
it's been well reviewed.
Okay. Has it? Okay.
Absolutely. Let's see what you think.
I'm going to take a tiny sip.
So, as our president and the journalists sampled the honey ale, it is worth noting that yesterday's brief encounter in the White House kitchen was intended as just a sample of what to expect today. The Today Show, of course, locked in a heated ratings battle with Good Morning America, so NBC promised a much more substantial interview during the breakfast hour this morning in hopes of attracting a substantial number of additional viewers. Maybe that happened, but if yesterday's interview was any indication, it seems that the letters NBC now stand for nothing but cheerleading. Continued cheerleading for this president and his failed policies. At least, that's the way I see it. Coming up next hour, former NFL quarterback Neil Lomax on yesterday's Super Bowl. What on earth got the Seahawks trying to throw when they're a yard away from scoring in the final few seconds, and what Neil is up to now. Also, a full report on Groundhog Day. That's straight ahead. Stay with us.